Well, hello, that's me again. Today is the 5th of October, and let's kind of go over some items which need to be addressed. And before I start, you already know that basically Vladimir Putin signed the documents of the accession of the 4 new territories to Russian Federation, and this is just the start. As Minister of Foreign Affairs Lavrov spoke in State Duma, speaking to Mr. Volodin, the Speaker of the lower chamber of Russian Parliament, and it's video now circulating widely, so it's just the start. But let's start with something which is, how to put it, people do not want to hear, but which is actually being discussed in Russia absolutely openly, and here it is. Colonel General Kartapolov, an extremely respected man and absolutely astonishing service record, starting from the Combined Arms Academy, and then of course starting from the motor rifle platoon, and then going to become the commander of the division, then the commander of the district. He graduated Academy of the General Staff, became the deputy of the Minister of Defense, and since 2018 now he became the chief of the military political directorate of the Russian Defense Ministry. Extremely important and extremely visible man. And as always, we have to understand that there are no smooth going in any kind of operation, especially such operation as special military operation, which is ongoing in now Russian territories. And obviously Kartapolov doesn't mince words, and he pointed out in his talk to Vladimir Solovyov that the guy who is absolute ignoramus. And he mentioned that one of the failures, not failures, he said it was one of the main problems was the, so as he described it, the weak work of the intelligence. And again, you have to understand, it is all very relative. When you speak about weak intelligence, you have to take it in the context, because obviously Kartapolov, and it's, as you all always know, there is no limit to the perfection, so to speak. We can perfect things until the hell freezes over. But obviously there are some issues which have to be addressed, and he addresses it, saying that he wanted to see the picture of whole depths of everything, I assume including NATO. How much it is provided and how much it is classified right now, I don't know. But obviously, yeah, he has the questions to the airspace forces. But I think so. We have to take it kind of, as I already stated, in the context. And evidently, what is happening now, it still is enough with the issue of providing the Russian armed forces appropriate intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, including through their space assets. And the main focus, actually, of Kartapolov was here not this. It was what he called the stop lying about the real situation in the special military operation. When taken out of the context, obviously we'll say that, oh my God, something is going wrong. Well, actually, you have to, as you can see yourself, highlighted in yellow. He was talking about specifically the fact that the enemy is now on our land. Well, it's obvious, especially since the documents for the referenda have been signed and adopted by the State Duma. But he was talking about the border villages in the Belgorod Oblast, which is absolutely correct. But this, nobody lies about it, actually. It's a fairly well-known fact, and he is also mentions this small town of Valuki. It's under 30,000 population town, and he's talking about that it's being constantly shelled by armed forces of Ukraine. Yes, it's a known fact. I don't know why he decided that it's not known, but yeah, when you live in the border towns and border villages in Russia, especially in Belgorod area and Kursk, less so in Kursk, but primarily Belgorod area, yes, they are essentially constantly shelled, and this is the way basically Ukrainian diversion intelligence or recon groups and artillery pieces do, trying to, inflict some kind of the damage. It's a well-known fact. So, and as you saw yourself, what is highlighted in yellow, that's what he was talking about. Yes, since today it's the actually operations on the Russian territory, full-blown. And that's pretty much changes the, so to speak, structure of the whole operation. And while Peskov was the spokesperson of Kremlin, was specifically stating today that no, there will be no rebranding of anything, it's special military operations, and general aims didn't change. Demilitarization, denazification of whole Ukraine, it is obviously becoming how to say it, well, not known, it's literally into your face. You can go on the YouTube and see all kinds of different sources showing the enormous amount of the trains, the echelons, pulling the, huge number of the armor and other weapons to the east, so to speak, which is to Ukraine, basically, and that's probably what is going to happen in the upcoming probably weeks. We will see this, massive attack, if you wish, or offensive, and primarily along the lines of which everybody talks about it, and it's kind of almost self-evident. But again, never discount the possibility the Russians will do something totally different. But primarily it looks like it's Nikolaev and Odessa. That's what it looks like. So let's leave it at that. And I want to also answer the question which somebody yesterday stated to me. And here's not the question, it's, a statement, so to speak. And somebody was kind of, constantly offended that I'm talking about Europe and, that some people even accuse me that I'm gloating or, so I'm enjoying the misery which is unfolding in Europe now. No, I don't. I already stated. But I am one of those people that actually, I'm the free will guy. I am the guy with the, so to speak, if you want to put it this way, classic Western. If you want to, I can come across probably as a classic liberal. No, not to be mistaken what we call liberals in the United States, because these are not liberals. They're a totalitarian sect. Primarily, no, I'm talking about the classic European civilization, or if you can call me the classic conservative. If that's the whole other story, and I will be making the video about it. But here's one of the people who asks me, "Sir, do you really believe vassal countries like Germany, Italy, France, etc. can allow for fair election process in the time election get rigged, even in the heart of the empire? How are you not aware that all the mainstream media of the world controlled by only 7 big global Satanists companies aligned to the people?" I know it. And that is absolutely valid point. People are brainwashed, but that's what I'm saying all the time. But you cannot only blame it constantly on the media. And I'll give you example. I'll give the argument which completely blows this argument, so to speak, out of the water. 2016 in the United States, Mr. Trump. And as much as Trump turned out to be an empty suit, he was promoting, so to speak. He was using the really good rhetoric, so to speak, when he was talking about America and its place in the world, and he was basically advocating for the humble foreign policy, and people bought it. That means what? They had the choice, they had the options, despite unprecedented campaign against Trump. Yet America still voted for him. We will leave alone the issue of the 2020 elections when Mr. Biden was elected, and while many people still, think that there were irregularities on those elections, which probably they took place, no doubt about. But what was the real scale of those irregularities? It is difficult to say. So, but point is, Trump in 2016 actually performed, so to speak, the feat of heroism, if you wish, and people believed it, and they voted for him. And it doesn't matter that he lied, and he turned out to be, again, absolutely, I mean, he's a loser, basically, politically speaking. But truth is, people voted. So America is the West, but in Europe, those people, they go to the polls and they vote same shit all over again. And hello, how about France? Who elected Macron, for crying out loud? I'm not saying that Mrs. Le Pen was significantly better. But French elected Macron, and she was actually pummeled in the election. So it is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. And then, of course, you have this bipolar electoral system, which is both in the United States and in the Western Europe. When you elect somebody like Macron, who's absolutely, I mean, it's unbelievable how France have fallen so low, and then suddenly they begin to elect all those conservatives and nationalists in the provincial elections. Go figure, if people are stupid, it's their issue, It's free will, guys. If you are brainwashed, I understand completely if you have been brainwashed in 1940s or in 1960s, but starting from 2005, 2010, with the development of the internet and broadband and huge variety of sources, well, if you don't want to bother yourself with finding out the answer, or at least alternative second opinion, I'm sorry, guys. It's your choice. You made this choice. I didn't, and that is the result. And now we have this funny thing about, which is, of course, only underscores the issue of the absolute imbecility of those elites, for which, by the way, you voted. I'm sorry. Here it is. Well, German economic minister, who has zero relation to economy, Mr. Habeck, accused countries, including United States, of charging too much for gas as Germany struggles to rebalance its energy mix without Russian supplies. Some countries, even friendly ones, are achieving astronomical prices in some cases, Habeck said, as EU gas prices 7 times US price. Well, I'm sorry. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, I always stated the country which has the Green Party as a viable political force, and don't forget, even few years ago, Greens were not just marginal party, they were all mainstream, all the way. They were a huge influence on the Germans' policy. So, you know what, I'm sorry again, you voted for that, you have been brainwashed, well, too fucking bad, I'm sorry, guys. Go out and seek the alternative opinions. You know what? It's like God forbid somebody ever encountering this problem, but it is akin to people going to the doctor who diagnoses cancer, for example, or diagnoses some other horrible disease. Guess what they do? Oh, absolutely. They go in 6 seconds, sometimes third opinion. Why don't people do this in politically wise? It's their problem. That's the point. Free will, guys. Nobody coerces you to go to the election booth and vote for somebody, because it's primarily, anonymous voting. And yeah, I can totally understand the issue of the voting machines, voting fraud, and all that. But again, Macron and Trump, do you see any connection here? Do you understand the difference? So that's what I'm talking about. If nobody seeks second or third opinion, especially in our modern world, hello, it's your problem. I didn't vote, for example, for Biden. Not that Trump is better, or he's better only in terms of basically saying bullshit people want to hear. But, again, the fact that he was elected in 2016, it's amazing. It tells you a lot that, yeah, there is still some integrity in the system. If you want to vote, go and vote for it. But they don't. So there you go. You get what you voted for, or as the famous reason goes, each nation deserves the government it elects. And to demonstrate this even more, and I already heard the same type of argument. Oh no, it's not exactly the type of the polling organization which we need to trust. It's all government. All this conspiracy. They make the numbers up. Are they making them up? Possibly. But point is that, again, even if we discount the absolute bullshit which is modern sociology is in terms of, I'm not saying sociology is bullshit, I'm talking about in terms of gauging public opinion, because primarily it's crap. But still, there is some rational seed, so to speak, you can kind of get out of it. But look at this. These are late June polls of the opinions, and again, I immediately reject any kind of the argument that it might have been made up, or it's government owned, or this is a lie. Possible, but look at this. Even in the end of June, when opinions asked Europeans. When asked about measures in support of Ukraine, Europeans generally support delivering weapons to Ukraine, 60%, significant majority, welcoming Ukrainian refugees, 81%, and welcoming Ukraine into the European Union, 66%. Guys, this is majority, this is significant majority, actually, so of Europeans. And even if considering the fact that it was in the end of June, well, you know what? And look at this. Interestingly, more Europeans are in favor of the EU delivering weapons than they are of their home countries doing so, 54%. And they still remain in the favor of of delivering weapons to Ukraine and continuing this slaughter of the armed forces of Ukraine. And anybody who tells me, oh yeah, they're brainwashed, are poor dears. Again, if they don't want to seek out the truth, it's their problem. It's not my problem. It's not your problem if you listen and watch my video right now, because evidently you are the one who started to looking for alternative opinion, for second opinion, maybe even third opinion. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to trust everything I say. In the end, I'm a living person, alive. I'm just human. I make my own mistakes sometimes. But at least you came here trying to figure out what it is. But let's not keep our eyes shut and our ears plugged. The truth is Europeans hate Russians. Period. Majority of them. How large this majority is, I don't know. I will just reiterate the fact that it is majority. It is a known fact. And this is the fact which is, of course, you have to kind of consider when you talk about the larger picture, the larger scheme of things, especially what is happening right now in former Ukraine and what is transpiring now and unfolding. And what we can see now, we already see some first new units arriving to the front line, and I'm not gonna go into the tactical minutiae again, because the only thing which is known right now it's absolutely horrendous, catastrophic losses for the armed forces of Ukraine, and this is corroborated even by those panic-stricken, Telegram channel, the military experts, so to speak, who are absolutely themselves appalled, who say that their fields are just, basically seeded with the bodies and remnants of Ukrainian armor and bodies. But this is well-known fact. We spoke about this many times and probably will speak more. But look what happens next in this whole situation, which really, apart from the fact that Germany's Mr. Habeck is absolutely parading himself as stupid, we need to also understand that in the larger scheme of things, we have this. And that is a wowzer. And people sometimes don't even understand what is happening because, again, as I stated, And I will continue to kind of, repeat it ad nauseam. Russia is not with the war, in the war with Ukraine. Russia is in the war with NATO. And the fact is, and again, as I already stated, by the way, this is also stressed in Kartapolov's, it's implied that, do not forget, Ukraine is supported, especially in ISR, by the whole American and NATO complex. Apart from the fact that being basically commanded and controlled basically by the NATO and by Pentagon. So it's not easy to fight, especially when you have to fight with this issue of the space assets, which in the normal war, God forbids this war ever happened, you would be able to basically wipe the basically sky off the American satellites constellation. Russia has this capability, but of course you cannot do this because that will mean direct war against NATO and the United States. So, and that's the issue, that's the thing. But look at this. After this announcement with White House disappointed with OPEC's short-sighted decision, really, well, OPEC Plus basically sided with Russian proposition about cutting the production, and it was cut today significantly by 2 million barrels per day. And of course, that immediately, as you can see yourself from the all relevant data, drove prices of the oil up. And obviously that is a great counter, so to speak, to this stupid decision by European Union, who decided to, and they achieved some kind of the consensus on the oil cap against Russian oil. Mr. Novak, as I already stated, the guy whose word worth so much, he simply came out and again confirmed, okay, you don't want to buy Russian oil, you want a cap, we'll just cut down, I'm not going to sell this oil to you. That's it. Simple as that. And of course, this cut, OPEC's cut, which is a strategic cut, it is of course slap on the face of the United States and of Biden administration. And rumors are circulating now that some say the actual amount of the strategic oil reserves in the United States is 30% of what is required. Some say it's even 18%. This is horrendous, guys. And again, for those of us who live in the United States, yeah, all this short-lived relief by like about 50 cents per gallon is over. I see in the state of Washington all kinds of the gas stations, which, our local gas stations, and about $5 per the lowest grade. So what can I say? Will Mr. Biden and his administration spend the rest of the strategic reserve? I won't put it past them, because you can expect anything from them. And again, don't forget, they also started that, in February, that, well, we're against the war and we do not want to supply things to Ukraine. Guess what? They supplied the hell out of stocks that now United States Army even begins to talk about shortages or lack of any kind of weapons which are critical for the United States military doctrine. But again, hey, guys, somebody voted for Biden, okay? Somebody voted for this walking mommy in 2020. And again, not that I say the choices were better, other choices or options, so to speak. So, but it is what it is. We need to live with the reality. And this is a decision which really hurts White House and really hurts the United States, because it obviously shows the real position of the United States in the world when people begin to coalesce around Russia. And this is the issue of the military economic power, and it is huge. Speaking of which, while Mr. Petraeus talks about how he can sink the Russian ships, obviously, I don't know how even to comment on this, and he probably have to take the doofus of the week, award, and I'm beginning to suspect that he doesn't understand what he's talking about. But even Fox News yesterday kind of goes into full panic mode, and oh my god, the Russian nuclear submarine armed with doomsday weapon disappeared from Arctic Harbor report, and they're talking, of course, about the Belgorod submarine, which for some reason Mr. Satnan, from what I saw placed the photo of not actually Belgorod, supposedly the satellite photo with, because it was the photo of the Podmoskovia submarine, which has nothing in common with Belgorod, because there are two different types of submarines. Belgorod is a classic Oscar II Project 949 remade into this massive nuclear, basically submarine station capable of carrying all kinds of weapons and systems, while Podmoskovia is primarily the old Delta IV type strategic missile submarine, and it was also used as the experimental submarine, but it's not Belgorod. Belgorod, the only reliable photo and video of Belgorod you can see is here. It's from officially from Russian media and Russian Defense Ministry, and I cannot emphasize enough how huge this submarine is. It carries obviously a bunch of the underwater stations and drones, but obviously the reason the hysteria, and believe me, Fox is just one of those media, the reason the hysteria is so high is because, actually Belgrade carries this thingy called Poseidon, which is status 6 drone. It's not torpedo. It's a huge basically weapon system. It is fully automatic. It is artificial intellect driven. And it can carry both megaton class nuclear warhead, or it can carry many tons of the conventional explosives. Those Poseidon things are really bizarre things, and you have to understand what it is. It's the nuclear-driven, not even, again, as I stated, these are drones. They look like huge torpedoes, but they are drones, essentially, and they can move with the speeds of up to 100 knots. It's almost 180 kilometers, well, more than 180 kilometers per hour, or about 120 regular miles, statute miles, per hour, and they travel in the depths of below 1 kilometer, and they are not interceptable by any anti-submarine warfare means, and they can go and lay down on the ground. Some people say, I don't know if they can do this considering their nuclear propulsion, because there are some limitations for that. But the truth is, many people do not recognize that the main purpose of those status thing, or Poseidon as they're called, not just to blow many megaton charge near the coastline of, say, eastern United States, and that will mean the tsunami up to the height of 500 meters, which is 1,500 feet. That will wipe out pretty much any kind of the coastal and deep into the shore settlement or city the size of New York, Boston. No problem, it will just simply wipe it out completely. And obviously with the huge issue of the radioactive contamination. But no, that's what Mr. For example, Petraeus, because he has PhD in international relations, doesn't understand. Poseidon is primarily done for the removal of the remnants of the US Navy threat, which is main power projection and attack force, which are nuclear-powered supercarriers. And Poseidon and Belgorod carries 6 of those Poseidons. Each of them is capable to approaching aircraft carrier task group, position itself underneath the carrier and blow the hell out of it. So, and I'm talking literally, even with 100,000 tons of displacement, the amount of the high explosives which are in the Poseidon, they will just completely destroy it, if not break it apart, and you understand what it means. So if Mr. Petraeus wants to play this game of sinking Russian ships, oh, sure. But obviously somebody, even in the US media, they kind of had enough, recognition that, yeah, Belgorod is basically just doing trials for this Poseidon system, and it's only the first submarine of this class. There will be many more carriers of status 6 or Poseidon, and that means basically that no navy in the world can move, freely around the world ocean. And that's what it means. So yeah, if Mr. As I already stated, Petraeus wants to sink Russian ships, be my guest, see what happens after that. But evidently the rumor has it that Poseidon is already in IOC, initial operational capability, and it's pretty much means that it's online. So probably Belgorod is doing its normal routine now. I don't know, maybe it went somewhere else. Who knows? Maybe it's already hanging around in the middle of Atlantic. I don't know. So, but it is what it is. This is the reality. And that's what I wanted to tell you. And this is pretty much my talk for you for today. And as always, guys, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please obviously support me on Patreon, which will allow me to continue to do what I'm doing. And as always, have the nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.